We're here at Pegasus Hobbies to walk in and have an interview, right? My lovely wife here is going to be the camera lady and tell me when I'm going wrong. And Tom,
guest host extraordinaire.
And this is Tom at Pegasus Hobbies.
Yes.
Okay. What's your last name?
McComber.
McComber. Tom McComber. We're here to talk to him about running a large hobby shop. We're going to put a video tour of this hobby shop in a little bit, but this is the biggest hobby shop I've been in, period, hands down, in a very long time. Very long time. They got some very interesting stuff, like this case behind us. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. This is Pegasus Hobbies. It is the Pegasus Hobbies that makes Pegasus models. And this is all their models in the case behind us. So I got some questions here for Tom, who runs the day-to-day operation of the store. How do you get a hobby shop this big?
Yeah, you start with a small one, and you just keep filling it up, and
keep filling it up.
And every time you get it full, you go to a bigger one and fill that one up.
So you just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, you know, this is our third location. Our first location we were in 2 years. It was maybe 2,000 square feet. And our second location was about 4,000 square feet, and then we expanded that 3 times into other units in the same strip mall.
Right.
And we ended up being about 7,500, I think, when we got out of there. And then we bought. That's right across the parking lot from where we're at right now. Mm-hmm. And then this location was an old LA Fitness gym. It's 20,000 square feet.
And it's full.
It's full, totally. Floor to ceiling.
One thing that surprises me, when I go to most hobby shops, it's mainly RC.
Yes.
And then you've got this whole section over here. It's nothing but models and tabletop gaming.
Yes.
And a lot of hobby shops don't have this stuff.
Well, space is definitely a factor for most hobby shops. You know, you can only carry what you can fit inside of your store. Mm-hmm. So it's forced us to have a large store because we want to have a lot of variety, and we want to be able to please a wider variety of people. You know, it's a struggle in this hobby industry at this time, and things like this are helping and hurting. You know, it creates a way that people don't have to come to a hobby shop to see what's new.
Right.
You know, they can go on your video and see it all. They can go to a mail order company and buy it all, mostly cheaper than I'm selling it in most cases. But when you come here, you can go and look at 50 different versions of the same model airplane if you're looking for a certain airplane, and they're all right here for you. So
like I see a whole bunch of 747 models up there that are all a little bit different.
Yeah. So, you know, we have an advantage in that aspect, being able to draw in from a huge area. You know, and being in LA, we do have quite an audience, so it really helps us where this might not work in a small town in Texas, or you know, where
it definitely would not work in my town.
You know, but you know, it takes a client base to have something like this, and that's what made it work for us.
There's so few shops around nowadays. Even in LA, I can count 3, maybe 4 with you, and they just keep going down. And
well, again, you know, we struggle to be profitable. You know, it's a very difficult business to stay afloat.
Right,
you know,
with the internet the way it is.
Well, there's so many people that are willing to work on a much lower margin than it takes to run a store.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so it's a struggle, and you know, I've told customers for years here at this store, there's 3 things that every customer wants. You know, they want the best price, the best selection, and the best service. And I tell them they can have 2. I give them good service and good selection.
Right.
That's the other factor here is the guys behind the counters are presumably fairly experienced. So when someone does come to a shop,
I was talking to the paint guy over there earlier. He knows his paint.
Well, in this store, we've kind of separated it into every area is a department. And every department has a guy that runs it, and every guy that runs it knows what he's talking about. And, you know, and if you ask my paint guy about cars, he's going to take you over to the car guy.
Right.
You know, I mean, he may know about cars, but he's going to probably give you to the experts. You know,
Right. Like I asked him about Createx paints, and he's like, "Here's how you thin it." And I was like, "I've never even heard of that." But I've heard 3 other ways of thinning it, and he knew the other 3 too. Which
there you go.
Createx paints aren't the easiest things to run through an airbrush for a model idea, because they are very thick and heavy paints, and he knew exactly what to do.
Yeah, we've got a lot of kids that have worked here since they were really kids. You know, this is usually their first job, and it's not usually their last job, but
Nice.
They keep it for a while.
they do keep it for a while. Most of the kids that work here are in school, you know, and it makes it affordable for them to have a side job and usually live at home and get their education.
Right.
How did you start the store? Was it just models or just RC or training or a little mix?
No,
of
we've always
everything?
been a full-line store. We've always tried to have a variety. I have a partner, Larry Thompson, and him and I started the store, 30 years ago. And
Wow.
we both had different interests. His interests were models and trains, and mine were cars and planes. So
There you go.
it's worked out just well.
That also explains the store size, being open for 30 years.
Yeah.
You've had 30 years to get it here.
Yes.
This didn't happen overnight.
No, it takes quite a while. It was surprising, when we moved from the other store to this store, and we moved into this place, and we had all of our stuff in here, and the model kits, instead of being this way, they were this way, to take up space. But you can see they're back to this way.
Right. They are. I also noticed, and I don't know if you're knowledgeable on this, a whole bunch of Japanese imported models in the sci-fi section.
We buy everything that we could find, and we try to have every kind of model that anybody might want. And I buy tons of collections. Modelers, they get
That was
old
gonna be
and
my
they get
next
out
question.
of it.
You're answering my next question beforehand here.
Yeah,
I mean, do you buy from people who bring them in?
You see things in here that you won't see in stores because it's old. I buy collections probably 2 to 3 a month. Whether they're car models or plane models
There you go.
or sci-fi models or ship models or whatever it is. When guys are ready to get out of it, we're a source for them to liquidate.
You go around to a lot of the kit shows.
You know what? I don't. I sell to the guys that do. So it's better for me to not compete against them. I buy a lot, and people buy from me, and they take it there. And usually, if I'm looking up an old kit and it says 20 of them sold at $10, I'm going to put mine out there for about 8, maybe 7, and let a guy be able to buy it and then try and remove it through his line.
Right. Gotcha.
So where do you guys go from here?
Well,
Keep moderating along? Or?
Our store is pretty complete. I mean, the inventory changes regularly. It's you can't always have the same thing, but models are. Some models have been around for 50 years, and you still got to have them.
Right.
It's true.
And then there's certain models that come and you never get another one. It just depends on what they are and the subjects.
Right. So here's another question. Which part of the store sells better? The RC, the models?
I would say our split is maybe not what you would think. Radio control is probably 50% of our sales.
That's not what I would think.
Models are a much smaller percentage of what this store's split is. It's probably not even 10%. I mean, guys like you are probably our biggest advocate of getting new customers and getting new guys interested in this hobby. It's tough to get a kid to want to be a model builder when you hand them a radio controlled car that has a throttle and gas and sound and
Or Nintendo.
or even Nintendo is the video games definitely play a big portion of taking our customers away from what we used to consider our customers.
Right.
We deal with a lot of kids here, and we definitely promote father and son teams, and we work with a lot of the Boy Scouts around here, and we're always pushing them to be modelers and rocket builders and whatever, just anything to broaden their horizon. Because when you're young, you're impressionable, and you need to be, your horizons need to be broadened always.
Right. I understand.
So along those lines, you guys have a lot of events here for father-son or Cub Scouts,
we
or?
do a couple of in-house local model contests right in the store. We set up tables in the aisles, and we have a little bit of a room in the back where we do classes and such, and we'll set that up for a model contest when we have it. Yeah.
Gotcha. I saw the track out back for the RC guys.
Yeah, we have a racetrack here. We do racing once a week. It's pretty popular.
Yeah, with the RC guys it is.
It's still. I mean, even though we race, racing isn't what we try to do. We just try to be a place where moms can come with their kids and dads and have fun and come out here and play in our back and you know, kill a few hours.
Right, I noticed too a whole aisle of nothing but kids science type stuff.
Oh sure, yeah. School projects are really big. You know, we try to support that well. And Pegasus makes a lot of kits that support the science and school project line.
Like some of these right back here.
Yes, lots of you know, trees and bushes and palm trees and banana trees and different things that you would need in a scenery.
Right, and the little guys to go with it.
Yeah, actually, a lot of those guys are ours, and
That's a mixture.
there's just a lot. Why so many kits, so many